Oh, that's okay. You're gonna back in the sequence again.
So here we go.
Pop the dumbbell up.
Set number 2.
Notice the grip here. Then I slide the hands into the tripod. So you'll do this for tricep exercises with the dumbbell. That way it's safe. You have control. Then get yourself set. Not quite right. So you get that sweet spot. Drop the hips. And then stretch it out.
It's an exercise that you don't need to go super fast. As you can see, Wade's using a moderate pace throughout the move so that he's working all the muscles involved. Getting a nice stretch, working the triceps.
One of the great things about using free weights like that too is it develops more athletic ability. You know, machines are great and they're good for particular points, but one of the advantages that free weights are is you get in the plane of motion, real life. Real life, nothing is totally linear. There's curves, there's twists, there's also the stuff with the physiology in your body. So machines have their place, and we definitely use a lot of them, but don't be scared to stay with the basics. Stay with the dumbbells, stay with the barbells, stay with all that stuff. You know, it's worked for centuries. There's no sense of changing it. No, I mean, it's really nice to have some great machines, and I've trained in some wonderful gyms. I mean, we were in Gold's gym in Venice Beach the other day, which is the Mecca, which is phenomenal equipment. But if I look at all the biggest guys, they're using barbells and dumbbells. Same old stuff. So, what's that tell you?
I think that was one of the nice breakthroughs from Leo Costa and those guys, is their neuromuscular activation theory. I mean, they just made it clear on a scientific level why the free weights are better. I guess everybody knew that from experience, but once they revealed that, it made it really clear. You know, they're just, your nervous system's got to work a lot harder and send a lot more messages to your muscles to stay in control and to perform the exercise. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And really, it's your nervous system that's controlling muscle growth, and most people don't know that, and that's one of the big breakthroughs that you brought to this game.
Yeah, one of the best pioneers of that was Scott Abel. Work in the nervous system and developing training system around the nervous system. You know, kudos to Scott for everything he's done for the sport. Oftentimes it goes unrecognized because it's very technical in what it is, but its application is simple. Barbells, dumbbells, that's all you gotta know. Now we're popping back up. We hit the 2 heavier sets, back down to the light range.
So what kind of weight difference do you like to do on that last set? Where would you do 10% less? What do you prefer on that last set when you're going back up with the reps?
Usually I'll drop it down to the first weight that I started with. And sometimes if I'm really pushing hard, I might even go a little bit lighter. It all depends on how the sequence goes. So if I'm really hitting the sweet zone in my training intensity, what happens is I'll go the same weight. If I'm really pushing really super hard, sometimes I'll even drop the weight a little bit lower from where I first started. So as you get a feel for the workouts, you'll understand about what weight's right for you. The most important thing is never use external factors to determine how much weight you use. So 140, 110, 120, doesn't matter. Focus on the feel of the muscles.
Notice where Wade's grabbing the bar. It's not super wide, but it's not super shallow. Any comments on where you like to grab, Wade?
Yeah, for me, I kind of find what I call shoulder width. And shoulder width means just when I reach up naturally, where do I grab the bar?
Yeah.
That's my natural range.
Right.
Right? So for different people, you're going to have to find the sweet spot for you, but bottom line is you want your forearms perpendicular to the ground. when you're pulling. So they're
that's
not
key.
in like this, and they're not in like that. You know, so it's pulling. So you have nice, clean lines through the exercise, so that the target market is the load parameters, nice and even throughout the entire movement.
Yeah,
So basically, it's about staying focused on what you're doing here in the gym. It's not tossing weights around haphazardly and saying, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this. That isn't what working out is, and that isn't what bodybuilding is, and that's not what mastery is. Mastery is mastering the internal game, and when you master the internal game, you reap the external results, right? And that means for this, you have the physique that you want. You don't master the inner game, you'll never hit the outer game.
What I've personally found for myself is that I like to just change the grip a little bit from set to set on certain exercises like the pull down. So I just work different sections of my back, and that works well for me. So don't be afraid to experiment a little bit, grab a little wider sometimes, a little closer other times.
Very good point, Matt, about experimentation. A lot of the things that I've done, I've experimented for 20 years to get the right perfect point. And every now and then, I'm playing with an exercise I've done for 20 years, and I find a new way to get, you know, that extra micro bit out of that exercise. So don't be afraid to experiment and find out what works right for you within the framework.
I love the saying, God is in the details,
Absolutely.
you know, because mastery is in the details. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. So let's get to the next set.
Well, the right pace for this type of workouts is a little bit different than what you've been doing before. Although it is a mass program, we do something from a radical departure from most mass experts. And we actually have you supersetting what I call a unique technique called the slow superset, in which you're combining two exercises that are slightly the same but working different body parts. So in other words, when you go through the exercise sequencing here, you're doing twice the amount of volume in half the amount of time. And this little technique has really blown up the results that people are getting from this routine.
Okay, today we're going to get a little creative. We're going to do good mornings. Originally we had scheduled hyperextensions, but the facility that we're training at today doesn't have a hyperextension machine. And this is an important point. Some of the exercises that you're going to see in Mastery you may not have access to. So what you want to do is you'll want to find an exercise that's going to work similar. Very seldom do you have the optimal training facility. You know, when I first started out, I didn't even have a gym for the first 3 years. I was building stuff in my barn. So don't let not having an exercise or something slow you down. Get creative. Find a way around it. Check in with the site. Do whatever you got to do, but find a way to make it work. So let's get into the exercise right here, Matt. So watch me as I do these good mornings. Excuse me.
So the key is, you know, first of all, understand what the body part is that you're working, which the target body part was the lower back, and you just switched it with another lower back exercise, and that's fine. So it's not about following the program to a T. Sometimes you can't, so that's when the creativity is important. So number one, he's not going below 90 degrees. He's going maybe 110 or 120 degrees. That's important when you start using weights. Really make sure you pull down the bar hard on your back, on your traps. You don't want the bar rolling on your neck, because this exercise can become a good buy.
Yeah, if you look there, you want to kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together and create a little cushion.
Yeah, you want the bar right about here, and you want to just pull it down so that when you go down, it doesn't roll up in here.
Exactly. You don't want to hit it on the vertebrae and causing you neck problems. Once again, safety first. Always be thinking before you start an exercise that you haven't done. Number one, use a weight that's easy to handle. So you can say, form first. Let's get the exercise down.